Good morning everybody, I'm Maree Seerden from Polestar Pilates New Zealand and the Body Studio in Auckland. We would just like to share with you a basic level movement class that you could do at home during this time of lockdown, and we are all thinking of you and hoping that you're all well, and it's really been a saviour to still be able to do our Pilates practice. And so let's have fun and let's get the class moving. So just a couple of things. If you've been, we've got this expectation that you've been doing Pilates with us at the studio, so you understand the basic principles. And just a couple of safety features that if you know that you have osteoporosis, we just need to be careful of coming into forward flexion through the spine, and I'll let you know of when you might need to keep your head down and modify. If you know that you've got any other limitations, just move sensibly and you can just modify to keep moving, doing another exercise while we're going through different movement patterns. The most important thing, just to remind you, is that we want to incorporate our breath throughout all the movements. And just going back to our basic movement principles, with the breath, I'd like you to remember what's important. So if you would start by placing your hands on your lower part of your rib cage, so that when we breathe in, we tend to breathe in through the nose. And as we breathe in, we want to get this lateral expansion of the lower rib cage, so breathing out into the side of the ribs. And then when you exhale, exhaling through the mouth, just make sure that you're taking all the breath out of the lungs, and there's no work here. So let's just start the session with some nice diaphragmatic breathing. So we're going to breathe in for 4 and out for 6. Breathe in for 4 and breathing out as you count to 6. Breathing in and out. And in and out. One more round, breathing in for 4 and breathing out. So come and lie down now on the mat and let's get started. So if you need to adjust that, you might like a pillow under your head or roll up a few towels, whatever feels right for you, just to feel comfortable. It's quite a nice idea to elevate the head up because that allows the back of the ribs to come down to the mat. So we're just going to pause here for a moment and just feel all the alignment of the body. So just notice that the head and the back of the neck muscles are released, and so you can just access a little bit more length through the back of the neck, just so the chin gently comes down towards the throat. There's no actual work in doing this, it's just finding and accessing your best alignment. So bring your attention to your shoulder blades and allow the back of the shoulder blades just to widen and melt into the mat. So you could imagine that your shoulder blades are like melting ice cream on a hot summer's day. So you just allow them just to widen and feel the space at the front of the collarbones as well. Perhaps you could imagine that you've got a big wide smile across the front of your shoulders and across the front of your collarbones. Notice the rib cage, so notice the ribs three-dimensionally, so the back of your ribs, the side and the front of the ribs. And just feel that when you exhale, you just allow the back of your ribs to sink down into the mat. Bring your attention down to your pelvis and just notice that you could just allow the muscles, the glute muscles, just to soften, and feeling that you could soften the muscles at the front of your hips. Then bring your attention to your legs. So notice that your thigh bones are lined up with your hip joint and your knees are lined up in line with your second toes. So feel the contact point of your feet to the mat and imagine that underneath each foot that you have a little tripod, one on the inside ball of the foot, outside ball of the foot, and the center of your heels. And feel that the feet are very grounded into the floor. So we're going to go into some pelvic tilting. So take a breath in. As you exhale, just allow the pelvis to tilt back so that there's no space underneath your lower back. And as you inhale, just allow your pelvis to move away from you so it tips forwards. So we're tipping the pelvis back and forwards. So we want to do this with as little effort as possible, and to keep the movement nice and smooth and efficient, notice that you've still got that sense of a smile across the front of your chest as your pelvis is moving. And maybe you'll notice even that the head is involved in this movement. Just by moving the pelvis, we can involve the whole spine and the whole body of just a gentle oscillation of the pelvis moving forwards and back, and that translates to a little yes and no nod through the head. So we'll just do a couple more here. Always keeping your mind's eye on the alignment through your legs, grounding down through your feet, keeping nice and open through your shoulders. And then we're going to pause in the middle place, what we call our neutral position. And we're going to move our pelvis on a diagonal. So we're going to imagine a little marble is on our pelvis, and we want to tip our pelvis so the marble is rolling towards your right foot, and then take the marble up towards your left shoulder. So everything is quiet, the shoulders, the legs, the jaw, and we're just moving the pelvis on this diagonal pattern. And this is important because this is the movement that our pelvis makes when we walk, and so we just want a nice fluid movement through the pelvic region. Let's go in the opposite diagonal now. So now the imaginary marble will roll it down towards your left foot and up towards your right shoulder. And just breathe easy, just breathe with the movement, whatever feels comfortable. But just make the movement as smooth as possible. Just one more here. And now we're going to take the pelvis into a full circle. So we're going to imagine that the pelvis is a roulette wheel, and we've got a marble in the center of the pelvis, and we're just going to move the marble around the rim of the roulette wheel or the rim of your pelvis. So tipping the bowl, and then roll the imaginary marble around the pelvis in a full circle. And then we'll pause and we'll go the opposite way. And then we'll pause back into the center again. So just feel that you're still maintaining the alignment, and there's that beautiful ease through the head, neck and shoulders, and we've still got the width of our shoulders and the wide smile. So from here, we're just going to imagine now that the pelvis is a bowl, and the pelvis inside the bowl is water that's just filled up halfway. So if we tip the bowl, the water would move towards the rim in this direction, and if we tip the bowl away, the water would move towards the rim of the bowl in the opposite direction. So let's just play around with this movement of just moving the bowl of water. So we just tip the bowl so the water comes to this side of the pelvis to the rim, and towards us to this side of the pelvis to the rim. And now just feel that you can align the bowl so the water is level. Check that the back of the ribs are just melting down into the mat. And then on your next exhalation, you're just going to explore just allowing the right leg to float up slowly towards you, and the bowl stays absolutely still. Pause here, inhale, and as you exhale, we could move the leg down towards the floor. So let's alternate that, so keeping the bowl of water absolutely quiet, float the left leg up towards you without disturbing any of the water in the bowl, breathing in, and then exhale, lower the leg back down again. So let's do a few of these, we'll just alternate. One more to each side. Okay, so we're just going to pause here, and then we're just going to just take that up a little notch. So bringing your attention back to the bowl of water, this time bring your right leg up, and keeping the bowl steady as you bring the other leg up. So this is called a tabletop position. Now imagine that down on the mat that you have a little pool of water, and you want to aim to take your toe down towards the pool of water while you're still keeping your pelvis quiet. So it's not necessary to take the foot all the way down to the mat. It's just that exploration. How low can I get the leg? And maybe I could dip my toe into the water and float back up. But there's no change here in the bowl of water. Excellent. So now we're going to take one foot down to the mat and then the other. And the next one that we're going to do is the bent knee opening. So we're keeping the bowl of water steady, and we have this sense of the ribs staying nice and quiet. And there is a sense of connection of your ribs and your pelvis as one unit. We don't want to let this happen, that our rib cage flares open and then we lose that disconnection. So just allow the back, the side of the ribs, have that sense of the back of the ribs on the mat, and keeping the bowl of water connected to the ribs. So this time you can bring your hands down to your hip bones, and this time allow your right leg to open out to the side as you exhale, and explore how far you can open that leg out to the side without any change through your left leg or the bowl of water. So this time maintain your alignment through the right side, so you're grounded through your right foot, the right leg is staying in alignment, and as you exhale, just allow the left leg just to open and move away from the bowl of water without there being any change here. So just opening, and inhale as you come back in, exhale as you open the left leg, inhale as you close back in. So we'll just do a few more here. So it's good to have your hands on your body so you can notice when one body part needs to move and the other body part stays still. So at the moment we're letting the leg move, and we're keeping the pelvis and the ribs and the right leg still, and we close back in. Excellent. So from here, we're going to go into some bridging, and this is really nice for your spine mobility. So maybe walk your heels a little bit closer towards your bottom. Feel that you're grounding down through your feet, knees are pointing out over your second toe, and visualize all the bones of the spine. So when we start to go into our bridge, we move the spine as if it was like a string of beads. So we're going to slide the sit bones out towards the back of the legs, and we're going to slowly just peel up to halfway. Breathe in here, and as you exhale, just reverse that movement. So rolling down from the lower ribs, and we've got 5 big lumbar vertebrae that we can come down one at a time. and then finally coming down to the sacrum, down to the tailbone. So let's go up a little bit higher on the next one. So sliding the sit bones out towards the back of the legs, and we're peeling up vertebra by vertebra, just to that point that you're resting between your shoulder blades, making sure that the ribs are staying quiet with this movement. There should be no flaring of the rib cage out. Just keep the ribs and our connection to our pelvis. On your exhale, just feel that you can just melt your spine down. Feel that you're rolling the spine down between your shoulder blades. You're bringing the back of the ribs down vertebra by vertebra. We're moving down to the lumbar spine and then all the way down to your tailbone. So let's do a few more of these. So sliding your sit bones out towards the back of the legs, towards the back of the knees, peeling the spine up, breathing in as you exhale. Just release the back of your neck muscles, soften your chest, and allow the spine just to melt down, vertebra by vertebra, all the way down. And there is a modification that you might like to do with this. When you're practicing on your own, sometimes it's nice to elevate the feet up a little bit, maybe on a chair or in a small box, and that's nice just to increase the range through the spine. So in your own practice, if you'd like to try that variation, please do. So now we're going to go into a chest lift. So interlace your hands behind your head and support your head with your hands. Reach the elbows up towards the ceiling and just let your shoulder blades or underneath armpits follow the elbows. So it's the sense of the underneath armpits coming around towards the ceiling. And that activates a really beautiful muscle called your serratus anterior, which is really important. So notice the bowl of water is going to stay quiet during this movement. You're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, just letting your head be supported by your hands and let your gaze track across the ceiling towards the wall in front of you as you curl up, breathe in, and as you exhale, keeping the head up and just starting to reverse that movement as you roll back through your ribs, through your spine, so the head comes back last of all. So taking in a breath, as you exhale, track your gaze across the ceiling to the wall in front of you. And this time we're going to release our hands. Take hold of your legs and use your arms to bring your body up a little bit higher, but not changing anything here in the pelvis of tipping the bowl of water. So breathing in here, reach your arms back towards your head, and then you're going to roll the spine back down again. So this time we're keeping the focus of the movement through our upper back, through our thoracic spine. So just like with the bridging before, you're going to feel that you can inhale. As you exhale and as you roll up, you're just rolling through the spine of your thoracic spine as if we were moving the spine like cogs of a wheel. Take your hands behind the back of the thighs. Use your arms to bring yourself up a little bit higher, always keeping the back of the ribs on the mat. Release your arms, inhale. Take the hands back behind your head, and we're going to exhale as you roll back down. So let's do a couple more here. Inhale, exhale, rolling up. Inhale, holding on behind the back of your thighs, bringing your upper body up a little higher. Reach the arms, take your hands back behind your head, so you're supporting your head with your hands, and rolling back down. Let's do a couple more. And this will be the last one coming up. Excellent. Okay, so now why don't we, if you have a pillow nearby, grab a pillow because we'll go into the book openings. Or you could stack up some towels here, just so that you've got your head supported on something a little bit more firmer that just holds your head in line with your spine. So remember alignment, everybody. So when you come to lie on your side, line yourself up with the edge of the mat here. So often what happens is when we come to lie on our side, we tend to go more on a diagonal position. So really feel that the head is the biggest vertebra on top of your spine, that you're beautifully aligned here. So bring the legs, the hips up to about a 90-degree position, and just feel that you're lengthening out through your sit bone and that you had a little bit of a lift underneath your waist, okay? So bring your hands together, and in fact we'll start with the elbow bend. We'll just start with a smaller movement, just holding onto your shoulder blade here, and we're going to make a little circle with the elbow. So circling the elbow forwards, and you'll feel the shoulder blade just moving and making a circle. The shoulder blade's following the elbow so that we can get some nice mobility of the shoulder blade moving on the back of your rib cage. And then we'll go the other way. Excellent. So now bring the hands on top of one another, and we're going to gently reach the top hand away, so there's a little bit of your nose rolling into the pillow, so you're getting this beautiful stretch across the back of your shoulders. And then slide the hand in towards you, and we're just going to slide the hands across the chest. Now here, let your gaze follow your hand as much as you can, and feel that your ribs are following your elbow as you slowly unfold to open. Now a little bit of safety here. I'm not trying to get my hand down to the floor. All I want is a beautiful opening across the front of my chest, across the muscles at the front of your shoulders. And really feeling that your ribs can open, opening the chest. There's a little counter rotation of lengthening out through your top knee. It's okay to get a little bit of movement through the pelvis if you want to open further, whatever feels good, okay? Then bend your elbow, slide the hand back in towards the chest, slide the hands across the front of the body, down your arm to your hand, and just not take your hand away from you, so you're just rolling forwards, and then sliding the hand across the arm, across your chest. Wherever the arm goes, the rib cage follows as well. The elbow. Important that your hand is like an elbow, a handle, and your gaze is always trying to follow your hand, always open, head is turning, rib cage is moving with the hand. Then we could go into a full circle, so the hand comes up and around, and again you're wanting to watch your hand as much as you can, and then there is a point that you feel that you're losing sight of it, but just feel that you're wanting to follow the movement of your hand as it comes around into a full circle. Excellent. So before we change sides, just come and lie on your back, and just take a moment And just compare the difference now between your right shoulder or your left shoulder, the one that you've just opened. Hopefully you feel a difference. Mine certainly feels much more open, much more released, and I've got more contact at the back of my right shoulder blade on the mat. So let's turn over and we'll do the other side. Okay, so we're going to start with the elbow bent and the hand to your shoulder. We'll just make a circle. So this is, keep your mind's eye on what's happening with the shoulder blade. So as the elbow is moving, there's a translation of movement with the scapula as well. So this is just nice to feel the shoulder blade is sliding and gliding on the back of your rib cage. And we'll go the other way. Check that you're aligned with your spine, lined up with the edge of the mat. Always, it tends to be the head that comes forward, so making sure that you've got your best alignment, so your gaze is forward as well. Let's move into the book openings now. So your hands are on top of each other, and just slide your top hand away so your nose rolls into the pillow. So we get that lovely stretch at the back of your shoulder blades, and then bend your elbow, take your hand across the front of the chest. So as we open, the ribs are following the movement as you unfold, and we get this beautiful opening through the front of the shoulder. Anchor down through the opposite arm, through the right arm, so that you've got an anchor point here, and that you're lengthening your top knee away. So that's like a jam jar, taking a lid of the jam jar with this rotation, rotating the upper body to the left and your lower body towards the right. Bend your elbow, rolling back. So we're going to do 5. Last one here. All right, so now we're going to go into the full circle. So we take the arm up and around, and our gaze is following our fingers as we come around, open into the circle. Time. Excellent. So let's lie on the back and see how our shoulders feel after doing that. Oh, it's magic. So I really feel now that the left shoulder at the front is also nice and open. It feels nice and light, and also I get more of a contact point of the back of my shoulder blades on the left side. So it's always nice to do one side, and before you change to do the other side, just notice what differences you're making in your body. So how about we go onto our tummies, and we'll just do a little bit of thoracic extension just to keep our upper backs nice and mobile. So coming to lie on your front. So the first thing that we want to do here is just to keep your head just relaxed onto your hands, and just have a little wobble here. Just allow all the muscles just to release off the bones. So it's just very gentle, like a little oscillation for the body. And then just feel that you can just, without lifting the leg, just Open up through the front of your left hip by just reaching the left leg away. Open up through the front of the pelvis, and then the right side. And just notice that you're going to keep the lower front ribs on the mat. So you could imagine that coming out of the lower ribs at the front that you have little feet. So we're just going to keep our hands underneath our forehead, and then we're just going to inhale. As you exhale, gently bring your gaze forwards just towards the end of your mat, and pause here for a moment and feel that you're balanced on your lower ribs, and there's that sense of your breastbone at the front, just lengthening the breastbone forwards, and the breastbone is widening without changing any extension through your neck. Then pause there, so your head will be the last part of the spine to come back to the mat this time, as you lower down through the lower ribs to the upper ribs, and then finally the head comes back down. So inhale again. As you exhale, gently just track your gaze forwards, not too far that your neck is arching. Really feel that the movement is happening through your thoracic spine, and that your shoulders, there's a lot of ease in the shoulders. I'm not pushing down through my arms, and it's just about bringing the breastbone forward so we can get the upper back to extend. Again, the head's the last part of the spine to come back down towards the mat. It's the lower ribs, middle of the ribs, and the upper ribs. So we'll do a few more here. So when you do this, you should feel no compression in your lower back or the movements through your upper back. So last time. And then we're going to just move our bodies back. We're going to sit back onto the heels as we come into a child pose position. And then we're going to come into quadruped. So here, we're just going to just make sure that we get into our alignment with the knees directly underneath our hip joints, and we're going to have the hands underneath the shoulders. And keep your gaze down to the mat so that you feel the back of the neck is nice and long. And we're just going to go into a cat stretch. So if you do have osteoporosis, I'd just like you to avoid this when we round through the spine. You can just stay in neutral and come into extension. That's where you need to stay. Otherwise, we're going to press the floor away, round up through the spine. So we're just getting that curve and stretch, and we're taking the lungs up towards the sky here. Then it's as if you're bridging. Send your sit bones out behind you and start to unfold the spine into a little bit of thoracic extension. So the emphasis here is to bring your breastbone forwards. And then we come back through the middle, pressing the floor away, rounding the entire spine up and sending the back of the lungs up towards the sky. And again, sending the sit bones away as we bridge and we move into a little bit of thoracic extension. So let's just move nice and gently, nice and fluid through this little arching curl. Last time to the extension, and then pause and just find that middle place where we're in our neutral position. And here we're just going to allow the chest to drop down towards the floor, and notice how the shoulder blades slide in together. Press the chest away from the floor so the shoulder blades move nice and wide and apart. So dropping the chest, we get, this is retraction of the shoulders. And then as I press the floor away, there's more weight into the little pinky side of my hands, and my shoulder blades sit nice and wide and congruent on the back of my rib cage. So inhale and exhale. So this gives some nice shoulder blade mobility again, but also it's really nice to feel and explore where should my shoulder blades be in weight bearing. So this is where I'm going to pause for weight bearing. I've got a little bit more pressure into the little pinky side of my hands, and I can feel that the shoulder blades are staying nice and wide and flat in the back of the ribs. Check your pelvis so that you're not overflexed or overextended, that you're in a good alignment here in the center. So we're going to keep the body still, and imagine that we've got a cup of coffee balanced on the pelvis, on the tailbone. Try and keep that balanced as you slide your right leg back behind you, keeping the toe on the floor, and keep reaching the toe, and so that by reaching back your leg just levitates up. Bring the toe back to the mat, and we fold back in. Let's go to the other side, so sliding the left leg back, keep reaching, and the whole time keeping the cup of coffee balanced on your pelvis. You could bring in the arms if you wanted to. So just to note, when we move through the shoulders, that we can weight bear through the right shoulder blade. It stays in that protracted position, and we could just slide the left arm forwards and back in, and we could alternate. So if you get your shoulder blades in a good position and good organization, that should take all the pressure away from the ribs, from the wrists. If you're not in good organization, it's going to be quite compressive through your wrists, so making sure that you're really getting your shoulders into that protracted position. Okay, so we'll take a break there, and we'll just give the wrists a little stretch, just gently. And then we're going to come up to standing. And that will conclude our class for today. So we'll keep on adding more classes to our schedule. We'll be uploading this onto YouTube, and we'll let you know so that you can get access to other classes. If you've got any special needs or any special requirements, just email us at the studio. Emily and I are still working together. We're checking emails. So by all means, please just pop us an email, or if you want to call me, we'll pop our cell phone number there for you too. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and that you have a really great day. Thank you very much.